In this podcast episode, Ben Shapiro discusses the unprecedented intensity of the current election cycle, his evolving views on Donald Trump, and the challenges of navigating public discourse in a polarized political landscape. He also reflects on personal experiences, the concept of masculinity, and the impact of social media, particularly under Elon Musk's leadership, while addressing broader societal issues such as the decline of woke culture and the importance of maintaining mental health during tumultuous times. Shapiro delves into the current election cycle, highlighting its unprecedented intensity compared to typical election years. He expresses a personal investment in the election, particularly in support of Donald Trump, and underscores the unusual circumstances surrounding this election, including the unexpected death of a candidate and multiple assassination attempts on Trump. He notes that the political climate has become increasingly chaotic, with the left's rhetoric contributing to a heightened sense of danger and division. Shapiro reflects on his evolving views of Trump, explaining that in 2016 he found both Trump and Hillary Clinton unfit for the presidency. However, by 2020, he recognized that Trump had implemented policies he supported, such as tax cuts and judicial appointments, leading him to vote for Trump. In the current election cycle, he is actively campaigning for Trump and other Republican candidates, believing that a Trump loss would have disastrous consequences for the country. When asked why he hasn't had Trump on his show, Shapiro explains that he would prefer to ask tough questions and feels that his support for Trump might bias the conversation. He would inquire about Trump's social media strategy, his stance on Ukraine, and the quality of his staff. Shapiro believes that Trump's campaign has lacked focus and that he has been chasing distractions, which could hinder his chances of winning. The discussion shifts to the broader political landscape, with Shapiro arguing that many voters are now voting against candidates they dislike rather than for candidates they support. He attributes this to a breakdown in social cohesion and shared values, suggesting that the political environment has become more about opposing the other side than about promoting a positive vision for the future. He believes that the left has moved significantly away from shared American values, leading to increased polarization. Shapiro addresses the idea of conspiracies against Trump, expressing skepticism about vague claims of a deep state working to undermine him. He prefers to focus on specific, verifiable actions rather than broad, unfalsifiable theories. He points out that the media has downplayed the significance of the assassination attempts on Trump, which he sees as indicative of the left's unwillingness to acknowledge the consequences of their rhetoric. Regarding the potential for Trump to run again in 2028, Shapiro speculates that if Trump loses in the current election, he will likely claim he was cheated, which could affect his standing within the Republican Party. He believes that the party may eventually seek a candidate who can effectively challenge the Democrats, especially if Trump is perceived as having lost credibility after multiple attempts. The conversation touches on the idea of national unity, with Shapiro arguing that the United States has lost a sense of shared identity and purpose. He suggests that the lack of social solidarity has led to a situation where people wish for the failure of their political opponents rather than seeking common ground. He believes that the political landscape has become so nationalized that it exacerbates divisions, making it difficult for people from different regions to find commonality. Shapiro critiques the media's handling of assassination attempts on Donald Trump, arguing that the coverage often reflects a bias against Trump. He suggests that the media tends to downplay the severity of threats against him while simultaneously amplifying any negative narratives surrounding his presidency. Shapiro believes this selective reporting contributes to a broader narrative that seeks to undermine Trump's legitimacy and distract from his policies. He emphasizes the importance of recognizing the implications of such media behavior, particularly in a politically charged environment where public perception can be heavily influenced by how events are reported. Reflecting on his school years, Shapiro shares that he faced significant social challenges, including bullying. He describes his family's transition to Orthodox Judaism at age 11, which made him feel like an outsider among his peers. He notes that he skipped grades, which further isolated him socially, as he was younger and smaller than his classmates. He recounts the bullying he endured, including physical altercations and emotional distress, but he also recognizes that these experiences taught him resilience. His father advised him that success is a combination of inherent ability and hard work, which shaped his approach to challenges. Shapiro believes that while bullying is harmful, it can also foster toughness and a drive to succeed. He reflects on the lessons learned from his school experiences, emphasizing the importance of hard work and the ability to withstand adversity. Shapiro offers advice to those who feel they don't fit in, suggesting that being an outsider can cultivate individuality and resilience. He believes that not fitting in can push individuals to define themselves more clearly and develop a strong sense of self. Drawing from his own experiences as a sports fan and an Orthodox Jew in a predominantly non-Jewish society, he argues that being the visiting team can provide valuable perspectives. Shapiro encourages people to embrace their uniqueness and use it as a strength rather than a weakness. He acknowledges that while it can be challenging to feel disconnected, it can also lead to personal growth and a deeper understanding of oneself. As a father and public figure, Shapiro discusses the challenges of balancing his professional life with family responsibilities. He emphasizes the importance of prioritizing family time and being present for his children. He shares that he has learned to compartmentalize his life, ensuring that work does not intrude on family moments. He highlights the significance of taking time away from screens and social media to engage with his family meaningfully. Shapiro also notes that his wife plays a crucial role in keeping him grounded, as she does not place importance on his public persona. He believes that the responsibilities of fatherhood have helped him maintain perspective and focus on what truly matters in life. Shapiro addresses the plight of insecure overachievers, noting that society often sympathizes with those who struggle to find their place. He points out that while it is essential to recognize the challenges faced by these individuals, there is also a tendency to overlook the achievements they have made. Shapiro argues that people who are high achievers often grapple with feelings of inadequacy despite their successes. He suggests that those who are driven to excel should learn to be easier on themselves and recognize their accomplishments. He emphasizes the importance of self-acceptance and the need to balance ambition with self-compassion, advocating for a mindset that appreciates personal growth rather than solely focusing on external validation. The conversation then shifts to masculinity, with Shapiro emphasizing that masculinity should not be narrowly defined by superficial markers such as physical strength, sexual conquests, or material wealth. Instead, he argues that these are instrumental goods, tools that serve a higher purpose, such as being a good father, husband, or community member. He believes that true masculinity is about building and nurturing rather than merely engaging in activities that are often glorified in popular culture. Shapiro critiques the modern conception of masculinity as a reaction to feminism, which has often dismissed traditional male roles in family and society. He argues that this reaction has led some men to embrace a distorted version of masculinity that focuses on individualism and hedonism, rather than responsibility and partnership. He asserts that masculinity should be about taking the male drive to build and protect and using it to create a positive impact in the world. Shapiro also reflects on his relationship with Jordan Peterson, noting that he admires Peterson's intellectual curiosity and his ability to delve into complex ideas. He appreciates Peterson's insights into meaning and personal development, and he expresses a desire to see Peterson return to more practical advice for everyday life, rather than getting too caught up in political and religious discussions. Regarding the risk of becoming a caricature of oneself, Shapiro acknowledges the pressure to conform to audience expectations. He recognizes that public personas can sometimes overshadow personal beliefs and values, leading to a disconnect between who one is in private and who one presents to the world. He emphasizes the importance of maintaining authenticity and being true to oneself, even in the face of public scrutiny. Shapiro discusses the challenges of running a daily show, noting that it often requires him to focus on current events rather than the deeper philosophical discussions he enjoys. He expresses a desire to create a body of work that has lasting significance, such as books or in-depth discussions on historical and philosophical topics. However, he grapples with the reality that his audience may not always be interested in those subjects, leading to a tension between his personal interests and the demands of his platform. When it comes to dealing with public criticism, Shapiro shares that he has developed a feedback loop with trusted friends and family who provide honest assessments of his work. He acknowledges that online discourse can be harsh and often lacks constructive criticism. He emphasizes the need for a support system that can help navigate the emotional toll of public life, especially when faced with animosity from those who may not have his best interests at heart. Shapiro critiques the endorsement of Kamala Harris by Scientific American, suggesting that the publication's decision reflects a broader trend of politicization within scientific discourse. He argues that such endorsements undermine the credibility of scientific institutions by aligning them with political figures rather than focusing on objective scientific inquiry. Shapiro implies that this trend is detrimental, as it conflates scientific authority with political agendas, potentially alienating individuals who may not share the same political views. He emphasizes the importance of maintaining a clear distinction between science and politics to preserve the integrity of scientific institutions. Shapiro offers advice for individuals trying to navigate the tumultuous political landscape leading up to the election. He encourages listeners not to overreact to every political event or debate, likening minor setbacks or controversies to bumps in the road rather than significant shifts in the political climate. He reassures that the political environment tends to revert to a status quo, suggesting that the election is not a definitive turning point, but rather part of an ongoing process. Shapiro stresses the importance of taking breaks from political news to maintain mental health, advocating for a balanced approach that includes engaging with politics, but also stepping back to enjoy life outside of the political sphere. He warns against the hyperbolic rhetoric that characterizes political discourse, particularly the notion that this election is the last chance for democracy, arguing that such claims are misleading and harmful. Shapiro discusses Elon Musk's acquisition of Twitter, now X, and the implications of his leadership for social media. He praises Musk for promoting free speech and transparency on the platform, contrasting it with the previous management under Jack Dorsey, which he views as overly restrictive. Shapiro appreciates Musk's willingness to engage directly with users and address issues like shadow banning, which he believes fosters a more open dialogue. However, he also acknowledges the challenges that come with Musk's approach, including the potential for misinformation and the need for safety mechanisms on the platform. Shapiro sees Musk's style as a return to the more spontaneous and less regulated use of social media that characterized its early days, while also recognizing the responsibility that comes with managing a platform of such scale. In discussing the concept of peak woke, Shapiro argues that society may be moving past the most extreme manifestations of woke culture, particularly in corporate environments where the focus on diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives is being reassessed. He suggests that economic pressures are leading companies to reconsider the profitability of such initiatives, indicating a shift in corporate priorities. Shapiro believes that while the overt expressions of woke ideology may be declining, the underlying dynamics of class struggle and resentment remain prevalent. He posits that the narrative of oppressors versus the oppressed continues to thrive, albeit in different forms, and that societal divisions based on class and economic status are likely to persist. Shapiro concludes that while the specific focus on race and gender may be waning, the broader ideological battles surrounding social justice and equity are far from over, suggesting that new forms of conflict may emerge as society grapples with these issues.